Usyk has dropped Daniel Dubois. What a shot! Will he get up? He's up on his feet.
He's up.
Come on, Dan. 9. And Daniel Dubois says he's carrying on.
Well, he's hurt. Let's see how
Come on, Dan.
Let's see it.
Minute and a half left in the round.
Oleksandr Usyk drops
over.
it. Oh, he's hurt him again.
It's over. It's
Oleksandr Usyk! What a performance! And is he going to quit?
He's missed it.
It's over! It's over! The greatest of all time! Oleksandr Usyk, 38 years old, flattens 27-year-old Daniel Dubois. I want no question about it. Don't talk to me about Tyson Fury. You're looking at the king, Oleksandr Usyk.
He's the greatest.
The greatest of all time!
Incredible. Gutted, because obviously we want the Brit to win, you know, and the ball put up a good fight in there.
Do you think the ball gave up there? He looked like...
No, don't do that. Don't do that to him. Usyk was really... I don't know what's even worse. He got knocked out. Do you know what I mean? But he went and he done what everybody wanted to see, which was him attacking in there. Yeah.
Tell me, are you stunned by what you've just seen?
I'm not stunned. I know that he broke him down, right? He broke him down. He was patient. Then Dubois did, for me, looked better. Like landed some good shots in the beginning. It was going back and forth, and he got Usyk's attention. But he was patient. Feints, movement, footwork, it all came together for him.
I feel bad for Daniel. Frank gave it to him on the plate, but you want to hang out. Let me start off. Yeah, I feel bad for Daniel, and I'm gonna say this. Yeah, to all the fighters out there, you want to be a killer, you hang out with killers. You train like a killer. Remember that. Yeah. Boxing is a combat sport, you understand? It's not about the days of boxing like how we used to box 5 years, 10 years ago have changed. This guy is showing you the remedy. He's fit, he makes you work. It's crazy.
Masterclass. We're watching one of the greatest fighters of all time here in Usyk. Fantastic. Punch perfect. Had it a lot to do. Put the fire out. And perfect punches. A master. All I can do is an applaud.
I don't know if you know that, but Daniel turned up at half-weight tonight. Do you reckon that may have made any sort of difference?
No, Daniel did a lot better tonight. But he was just in there with a generational great fighter. Someone who's going to be remembered for the rest of history. You take your hat out to him. That's all he can do.
Just now. Oh, shit! Dubois hurt. Oh! Dubois got knocked out. I just lost $10,000. $10,000. Ah! Dubois.
Usyk's just one of the best I've seen live. And what an honour it was to watch him. But Dubois will be back. How is he? 28. He's young.
27.
27. He's young. He'll be 3-4-time world heavyweight champion of the world.
What is it about Usyk that makes him so good a level from the rest?
He drains the fighter's mental energy, man. His footwork, his feints. He's unreal, bro. He's unreal.
Do you think Dubois could have got up in the last one?
Pardon?
The last knockdown, do you think Dubois could have got up?
He would have been hurt. He would have been hurt regardless. So it's for the better, I think.
Oleksandr Usyk, whoa! 5th round stoppage of Daniel Dubois. I'm in Las Vegas right now getting ready for the Pacquiao fight. We're watching an all-time great. Oleksandr Usyk is an all-time great. He just dismantled Daniel Dubois, who's 27 and in his prime. Usyk, crown the man. I don't want to hear anything, no slander. All-time great heavyweight. Oh my God. Usyk stops Dubois in 5.
Oleksandr Usyk just faced the biggest scare of his undisputed reign against Daniel Dubois. The reactions from fighters, fans, and analysts revealed just how much this fight changed everything.
No, I don't think it was one-sided. At the end it was.
I thought Daniel gave a good account of himself in a couple of the rounds, but you know he's an unbelievable fighter, Usyk, modern day great, and you've got to take your hat off to him. In any generation, he'd be a great fighter. Daniel, I hope you can learn from it. You know, as I say, the better man won on the night.
I'll put you on the spot. Does anybody beat this man in this era?
The only challenger out here, there's two left. My guy Joseph Parker and Adji Caballel. They're the two young, fresh heavyweights who are in form. They're the only challengers left for this guy.
Do you think Dan made a mistake by basically annoying him about, you know, with all the talk about his faith and about the body shot, etc.? Do you think they made a mistake annoying him?
Listen, whatever happened, bro, they were concentrating on the wrong thing. All they had to do was say, we're happy with this situation, round 2, we'll win the fight. That's it. They were going off the scale of body shot, you're a liar and all this for no reason. And what happened now?
He said in the press conference the other day, and I've never heard him say this, he predicted that he'd win by knockout, and he's never done that before.
Yes, mate, I know how he trains. You know, he was confusing Daniel with his legs, moving. And when he saw the shot, we saw the in the first round, the double jab, beautiful jab.
Does anyone beat him in this era, Derek?
I'll beat him.
Do you think he should fight Parker?
Parker's deserved his shot. I think Parker should get a world title fight regardless, even if Usyk vacates the belts.
Hands off. Usyk fought like a heavyweight, not a cruiserweight in there tonight.
Yeah, no, he did. He stood on business, man. He stood on business, and he said he was going to knock the bar out, and he done exactly that.
He came to fight, not to box.
Yeah, no, for real. But you could see it all fight week. You could see it all fight week in his eyes and in his persona as well.
How good is Usyk?
Phenomenal. Best heavyweight there is currently, and I don't see anybody beating him.
Is he as good as Muhammad Ali? It's not a crazy thing to say, I don't think, at this point.
Yeah, the thing is, you can't really do the comparisons. Do you know what I mean? But I do think he's one of the best currently now to do it.
Who do you want to see Usyk fight next, or just sail off?
He can sail off into the sunset, and he's done everything. Do you know what I mean? He's phenomenal fighter, man. You're watching him. I'm just watching him. I'm going, oh my god. Like, that's God-given talent. Yeah, you can't train that.
I don't think we've ever seen Usyk fight with them kind of bad intentions.
Listen, he threw with bad intentions, and he wanted to get him out of there today.
He said in the press conference that he was going to win by stoppage. Are you hoping that he calls your name out?
I hope he calls me out.
Why did he jump in the ring?
The unbeatable Oleksandr Usyk. We'll find out. His next fight will be against Joe Parker.
I know, I'll come on to that in a second, but with Daniel Dubois, look, he's 27 years old. He can come again, right?
I hope he can. He's got to learn from it. If he don't learn from it, then he won't come again. But it's up to him. You know, it was a tough night for him, a tough night.
Is he okay, like, health-wise? He's obviously very, very disciplined. But in terms of, that was brutal, that knockout, Frank. Is he okay?
He got up. He got up at 10. He weren't brutal. He weren't poleaxed. He got up.
After we have explored these reactions, let's revisit what fighters predicted before the first bell. Their expectations painted a very different picture. Joe Rogan praised Usyk's technical mastery, his footwork, timing, and ability to outthink and outmove bigger opponents. While he acknowledged Dubois' power as a serious threat, Rogan made it clear this fight was a classic clash of styles. Usyk's finesse versus Dubois' raw force, and that contrast is what made it so intriguing.
Fighting Usyk again, it's a tough fight. That Usyk guy is talented. He's so talented. He's so small for a heavyweight too. He's non-stop movement and his footwork and everything. It's so different than anybody else.
Joe Rogan also took notice of Dubois' evolution, calling him scary, and pointing out that at just 27, he's coming into his own. For Rogan, Dubois wasn't just a puncher anymore. He was maturing into a serious contender with real presence. While Usyk remained the favorite in his eyes due to skill and experience, Rogan believed Dubois' growing confidence and raw power made the rematch far more dangerous than most were ready to admit. Rogan remarked, "Coming into his own, man. That's what that is. He's only like 27, right? Yep, yeah, he's coming into his, that guy's scary." The low blow controversy from their first encounter was still fresh in everyone's minds, and Tony Bellew knew exactly what fans expected from the rematch. For Bellew, simply winning wouldn't be enough for Usyk. He would need to end all debates once and for all.
Do you know what he's got to prove? He's got to prove, and I don't believe this, by the way, but I know a lot of fans, and I get stopped all the time about that shot. Yeah. Is it low? Is it? He's got to prove that he can take whatever Daniel Dubois throws at him and basically get rid of him again.
Before this rematch took place, Sonny K had serious doubts about the Dubois hype train. He reminded everyone that Daniel had been thoroughly dominated in their first meeting, only managing to stay competitive through that disputed low blow incident. K warned that while Dubois carried crowd support and elevated expectations into this fight, that pressure could work against him when it mattered most.
Essentially, he lost every round, our man, in the first fight, and the only glimpse of hope that he had was that low blow, which I think was a low blow. So yes, he's coming into this, he's got everything to prove, and also he's got a lot to prove because everyone's so high on him now. No one's ever been this high on Danny Dubois after
he's a better fighter now than he was then.
Yeah, he's better for the experience.
3 good wins, and he's coming in this the main man, so a lot of people are expecting him to win.
Leading up to this rematch, Tony Bellew recognized that Dubois wasn't just stepping back into the ring with Usyk, he was confronting the demons from their first encounter. Bellew acknowledged that Daniel appeared mentally tougher this time around, though he questioned whether that transformation would be sufficient to change the outcome.
But Daniel Dubois has got a lot of demons to revisit, and he's going to revisit them in this fight. I think he's in a different place mentally now than he was before the first fight. I don't want to say he's grown up and mature, because I think he's the same fighter as he was. It's just his mental approach is going to have to be different.
Before this fight, Adam Smith observed that while most expected a repeat performance, Dubois' wins over Miller, Hrgovic, and Joshua had changed everything. Smith believed this was a different fighter, in peak condition, and carrying the confidence that comes from proving himself under pressure.
I think when the fight was first announced, most thought Usyk would just repeat the feat that he did in Poland. Obviously, Dubois got momentum with those wins over Miller and Hrgovic, and of course AJ at Wembley, where people were worried whether he'd freeze, and in front of 96,000 he dismantled Joshua, so he could be in no better form. I would have liked him to have fought in February when he was going to fight Joseph Parker.
However, Smith worried about one factor: Dubois' inactivity since Wembley against someone as sharp as Usyk. While acknowledging Daniel's improvements, Smith warned the result could be identical unless Dubois landed something big, particularly to the body where that controversial first fight shot still echoed.
He could be in no better form. I would have liked him to have fought in February when he was going to fight Joseph Parker. I think that lack of ring time might be problematic come the Usyk fight. I don't think there'll be any decline from Usyk. I think he's got heavy hands, Dubois, and he'll go for it, and I think he'll always be dangerous while he's there. I just wonder if Usyk will be slightly too clever still. I don't know. Look, the gap has definitely closed. Usyk is getting older. Dubois is getting better. There's no way that he can outbox Oleksandr Usyk round after round, but can he punch through him? There's a possibility, and that's where the jeopardy is. And of course, he'll have the home crowd. He's got nothing to lose. I think people expect Usyk as this sort of unbeatable force, but the legs will go at some stage, and that low blow, whether it was, whether it wasn't, is long gone now, but it will give Dubois confidence that he can work the Usyk body, and if he can get to him, he can hurt him, and then it'll be very, very interesting.
Before the rematch, Teddy Atlas didn't talk much about game plans. He talked about identity. In his eyes, Dubois wasn't just fighting Usyk, he was fighting everything he'd once failed to overcome.
To be a champion, somewhere along the line, you got to find a way to overcome. And Dubois found that. Yeah, he gave in. I thought he gave in. He broke down. Mentally, emotionally, whatever you want to call it, physically. But I think more mentally in both the Joyce fight and Usyk fight. But he came back, he redeemed himself. And he did what you said. He fought those 3 tough fights.
Atlas acknowledged the growth, tougher opponents, tougher mindset, and a willingness to rebuild after setbacks. But even with all that, Atlas reminded everyone that Usyk isn't just talented, he's cerebral, constantly adapting. And if Dubois had grown, Usyk had sharpened.
Dubois has found himself. He's a different fighter. He's a different animal now. Anyone who thinks that it's the same fight, they're wrong. I can't go against Usyk. I can't, because the guy, his greatest strength is he always finds a way to win. Always.
Frank Warren viewed the rematch as a defining chapter, not just for Dubois, but for British boxing as a whole. To him, this wasn't about hype or revenge. It was about maturity.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a great fight. I know I keep repeating myself, but it's historical. First time ever the 4 belts have been contested for in the UK, and it's a big chance for Daniel to, make his mark in the world of boxing, and certainly in British sport, by being the first Brit to ever hold the 4 belts. So it'd be a magnificent achievement for him and for British boxing.
In Belleau's pre-fight assessment, this wasn't really about Usyk's established legacy anymore, but about whether Dubois could overcome what had previously broken him, especially after walking through setbacks, criticism, and failure to potentially reach his peak at the perfect moment.
Oleksandr Usyk cannot be questioned in any way, shape or form, whether it's going to your backyard, whether it's can he do this, he's ticked every box he's ever came across. Our man here, Daniel Dubois, hasn't, but of recent has. So we've seen him do the wrong things in the past. We've seen him take a knee, whatever have you. But the best way to explain Daniel Dubois is he's a 27-year-old veteran. He's experienced everything the boxing can throw at him. He's been dropped, he's been down, he's been stopped, and he's found a way back. And he's now on the back of his biggest ever victories. He's on his best ever run. The victory over AJ was something else.
Meanwhile, Frank Warren saw a different Dubois in camp, focused, disciplined, and locked in on legacy. Warren praised Usyk's ring IQ, but made it clear Dubois wasn't coming in as a hopeful underdog. He was coming in as a man finally ready to meet the moment.
It's just been everything's online and on and on point. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that continues that way. But I'm also hearing, from Usyk's camp that they're doing well as well. I mean, he's a consummate professional, so these guys are going to be well prepared, and they know both know they're in the fight of their life.
Before the fight, Tony Bellew respected Dubois' rise, especially after beating Miller and Joshua, but he made one thing clear: Usyk is still on another level. For Bellew, Dubois had improved, no doubt, but experience and ring IQ are what separate great from elite, and Usyk has both in spades.
You think we're seeing a different Daniel Dubois now, though?
Yeah, no, I do. I do think he's massively improved. I think he came of age against AJ.
Personality-wise, he's looking a bit more.
I just think, against Jarrell Miller, he's shown he can come through tough moments.
True.
Jarrell Miller wasn't active enough, and Jarrell Miller doesn't punch hard enough. He'll come across a completely different skill set than Oleksandr Usyk. You got to remember, he's been in there with him already, we all know what happened last time.
Yes. Chris Algieri saw this rematch as a complete flip from the first fight. Dubois wasn't the underachiever anymore. He was the danger man with momentum. To Algieri, this wasn't just about proving people wrong. It was a total rebirth, and that shift made the fight far more unpredictable than before.
But the narrative is much better for the Dubois rematch. You've got the fact that they fought, and then since then, Dubois has been on a tear, beating guys that he was the underdog against, Ergovich, and then Anthony Joshua, of course. The guy has really revamped his entire career, turned it around, gone from a guy that people saw as a quitter to being potentially the most dangerous man in the world. So you've got this narrative now that Dubois is a different guy, so this rematch will be different.
Frank Warren stood firm in his belief. This rematch would be nothing like the first. In his eyes, Dubois wasn't just coming back stronger, but sharper, more disciplined, and mentally locked in. Warren believed this was Daniel's moment to shake the world and seize undisputed glory right at home.
Usyk, who I've got great admiration for, he's beaten every British fighter that he's been in with, but I believe that he has weaknesses, and it was nearly exploited in that first fight. I mean, that's the punch I always felt would give him problems. So Daniel knows what he's got to do in this next fight, and it's going to be a great fight. And as I said, it's historical because of the belts and so forth. And if he comes through that, how bad is that? 48 years I've been doing this now. I mean, for him to come through and do that, heavyweight champion, and I've looked after a few British heavyweight world champions, but I think that would be something special. The first guy to hold the 4 belts, that's historical.
Eddie Hearn pointed to a specific weakness: Usyk's vulnerability to body shots. He revisited the low blow controversy from their first fight, standing by the ruling and insisting the shot landed below the navel and hit the protector. For Hearn, that moment exposed a real crack in Usyk's armor, one Dubois could target again if he wanted to change the narrative.
It's a great fight. I mean, for Dubois, the inactivity, missing out on that Joseph Parker fight might hurt him a little bit, because the momentum for Daniel Dubois has been incredible. I mean, he beat Miller, he beat Hrgovic, he beat AJ, but it will be, 10 months out of the ring. I still believe he'll have that confidence, but I think he could have done with that Parker fight, or certainly this fight, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. When they fought last time, I don't think that was the best Oleksandr Usyk by any stretch of the imagination, but I also don't think it was the Daniel Dubois that we've got now. You know, at that stage, Daniel Dubois had very little confidence. He went to Poland, big crowd, and gave Usyk a decent fight. Didn't win many rounds, but he looked dangerous in the fight. Obviously the controversial low blow as well. And now I think Dubois has a lot more confidence. The reality is, it's for the undisputed heavyweight world championship. You know, Daniel Dubois could be the undisputed world heavyweight champion.
Lennox Lewis threw his support behind Dubois, backing him to win the rematch and praising the strides he's made since their first fight. Unlike many who leaned toward Usyk's skill and experience, Lewis focused on Dubois' power, confidence, and the fact that he'd already put Usyk down once.
I'm thinking he's ready. You know, he's been through the trials and tribulations. He's the King Slayer, and he's got the power. He's been there before, so he was just there. He knocked the guy down, so he knows what he needs to do. So it would be great for him to do it. Another man do it for Great Britain. It's not an easy task, but he's definitely the man that can go through with it. He's done the work. He's gone through the pedigree, and he's a certified champion. So, you know, I think, he has big hopes on doing it. He's going to do it.
The rematch may be over, but the echoes of it will last. The critics were split before the bell, but after everything that unfolded, sudden momentum shifts, near disasters, and sheer grit from both, one thing is undeniable. This fight changed how we look at both men.